Now I'd like to invite His Excellency Mr. Peter Thompson, President of the United Nations General Assembly, to deliver his remarks.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. And to the Deputy Ministers of Foreign Affairs, thank you for travelling all this way. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to move through my prepared address as quickly as possible because looking at the program, I see you've got a lot of speakers, and I'm sure you're dying to get to the Q&A and discussion where brainstorming, as you know, actually occurs. So I'll move as quickly as I can through what has been prepared here and dispense with all the formalities of thanks and so on, which have already been done, but I genuinely feel those as well. I'm particularly inspired by the innovative nature of this event. Congratulations to the organisers on that. And not only bringing different people, and it's a great mix around the room here, I can see just from partners, but also from member states. It's a very interesting cross-regional grouping. And I really look forward to, and I hope my time permits me to be listening to the brainstorming bit of new ways of working together in order to drive this universal push for sustainable development, which we are all committed to here in the 71st session. This innovative way of thinking that you have brought to us, UNDP and Belarus and Kazakhstan, is what we need in these times if we're going to achieve the Sustainable Development Agenda. And it is an if. We've all made this commitment, but it's not going to happen unless we're all in this together and we maintain our political will, we maintain our commitment, and we get what I have set out to do in the 71st session, which is to get the wheels turning on each of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. That commitment remains firm, and I believe we'll get there. Indeed, if I can just miss out a few paragraphs here in the interests of your Q&A, let me cut to the fact that Sustainable Development Goal 16 specifically recognizes the importance of reducing illicit financial and arms flows, promoting peaceful and inclusive societies, strengthening the rule of law, and reducing violence and related deaths to achieving the SDGs. Now, this is that old theme, which several speakers have already referred to. No peace without development, no development without peace. As governments and partners look to turn the 2030 agenda into action, sustainable financing has been identified as fundamental for obvious reasons. And with current estimates suggesting that SDG implementation will require something between $5 and $7 trillion per annum, we have to look at new sources of financing and redirecting existing financing towards sustainable development. What comes to mind? Bingo, military spending. And the redirecting of that towards sustainable development should be amongst our priority objectives, in line with Article 26 of the UN Charter, which calls for the least diversion of armaments costs of the world's human and economic resources. Global military spending, as you know, stands somewhere over 1.7 trillion annually. The prioritization, if I can get that word, of these funds towards sustainable development could profoundly contribute towards the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. Just step outside the United Nations and look at that wall with the staircases where you turn the swords into plowshares, and that refrain has been going on for thousands of years, but we've yet to find the formula to do it. With some notable exceptions, such as the two countries sitting at the top of the table here, and I congratulate you again on your decisions to take nuclear weapons out of your countries. Excellencies, in order to have a meaningful discussion on the relationship between disarmament and sustainable development, we must ask why it is that so many nations invest so heavily in weapons that fuel violence and conflict, inflict human suffering, destroy homes and infrastructure, facilitate terrorism, weaken economies, set back development outcomes, and risk undermining political stability. As new threats multiply across our world, new challenges emerge to the independence and sovereignty of states with commensurate acquisition of weapons. It's therefore necessary that we look beyond military spending as the best means to enhance security and stability, and see social and economic development and political empowerment as a more effective way. And it's also critical that we work at national, regional, and global levels to enhance peaceful relations between states invest in conflict prevention, prioritize diplomatic and political solutions, and commit to sustaining peace. And from that paragraph, I really underline regional. And the recent experience in the Gambia shows the success of regional efforts on peace. In recent months, the United Nations member states have taken a new approach to peace and security through the concept of sustaining peace. This fresh approach recognizes that it is not possible to achieve lasting peace without inclusive, sustainable development, equitable economic opportunity, and human rights protections for all. As you've heard, in recognition of the fundamental interlinkages between implementing the 2030 Agenda and the concept of sustaining peace, tomorrow I will be convening a high-level dialogue on building sustainable peace for all, synergies between the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Sustaining Peace Agenda. This event will be the first time that the Secretary General meets together with the Presidents of the General Assembly, the ECOSOC, and the Security Council, as well as the Chair of the Peace-Building Commission. The first time that they have all participated in such an event. So we aim to improve coherence and coordination across these bodies, and I encourage you all to attend. It's a day-long event. Excellencies, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., whose life we celebrated just a few days ago, said, and I quote, "A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual doom." These are prophetic words in our modern age. If we are to achieve our goals of peace, sustainable development, and human rights, we must rebalance our priorities and shift military spending towards investments in our people, our planet, and in driving prosperity for all. I wish you all a successful discussion this afternoon and look forward to the outcome of this brainstorming session feeding into tomorrow's high-level dialogue, thereby strengthening the discourse on universal implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and on sustaining peace. Thank you.
Very much, Excellency, President of the General Assembly.